Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And of course, joining me on a Monday to do a nice weekend wrap-up of sports, Jason Cameron. Hey, buddy, how was the weekend?
Weekend was good. I went out with some friends on Saturday evening, and we saw the new Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Wow. Nice.
It's always good seeing Tom Cruise run fast, and he ran a lot in that movie. He was definitely sprinting. He's doing his best Usain Bolt impression. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I give the movie a solid 8 out of 10.
Oh,
it was good.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
man, it was good. It was part 1, and then part 2, I believe, is coming out next year or something like that.
Oh.
The stunts that he did were insane as usual. They just freaking the guy's insane. He's kind of insane.
I'm amazed that the studios and his agent and anybody allows him to do these stunts, because they're absolutely so shockingly dangerous, and it just looks like, I cannot believe that they allow that. It's amazing that he wants to do it and that they allow it.
Yeah, no, it is amazing that they allowed him to do it. So I can't remember the name of the director's name that did this Mission Impossible. Apparently he did the last 2 as well, and he's done a lot of other movies with Tom Cruise. So I was making a joke, like, basically this director's hitched his wagon to Tom Cruise, because he's like, well, if Tom dies, my career's over anyway. So he's gonna go. He's gonna go.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, if you can get in with Tom Cruise, he only makes blockbusters and massive money coming in, and I'm sure the director can command a lot of money if he's going to be putting together a film that's going to be making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like if it's making that much money, yes, there's a little bit of risk of, like, your lead actor dying, but if he doesn't, man, am I going to make a lot of money.
That's awesome. Okay, well, that's a good segue to talk about the latest development in the film industry. We have heard that the actors have now joined the writers on the picket line, and they have the same sort of problems with the way the current situation is. They're concerned about AI, they're concerned about residuals, and it seems like 100% of the actors, especially very well-known top actors, are all going on the picket line. They're supporting everybody involved, and I don't think this is going to get settled very soon. I think the film industry is definitely out for the summer, and it might be late into the fall. This might be a long, drawn-out battle and a very hard strike to rectify and come to an agreement. I think you and I are going to be out of work for a while, and so are hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. Like, because this is such a big deal. It's like, I guess you could say this is like a watershed moment for all unions involved, like for everybody, because everybody sees the potential of where this could go and what this will lead to. Because eventually we're going to get to like a sort of technological evolution wherein you can just tell the AI what you'd like to see in a movie, craft a story, and make it through visual representation, and then the AI can just do it.
Yeah.
And you know what that means? It cuts out everybody.
Yeah.
Nothing is needed now.
Yeah.
Just create a story. I'm telling you, that would be the pinnacle of where it gets to, but it can get there.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's even a doubt in my mind. It can get to that point.
Yeah. Well, it's scary for everybody in the film industry, because it seems like, the technology is going that direction. I just worked on a show with this volume stage, and you walk into this room and you can see you're in a location anywhere in the world that they've projected on the screen, and I had to put very much minimal dressing on a set compared to what would have had to be done. Never had to go to New York, never had to go to, London, never had to go to Paris, never had to go to anywhere around the world. We just did it right there. And that's going to cut down on, so much need for manpower and so much need for so much else of it. With the actors, the one aspect that really blew my mind was the productions and the studios. They would want a background performer to come in and pay them for one day and have them get shot in the costumes and probably multiple costumes in just different types of ways. And then they were going to be able to have that person's likeness and image in perpetuity for the rest of the lifetime of that production. And that person only got one day's pay. Like, how do they think that that's reasonable and fair and something that any of the actors would agree to? It's just unbelievable and ridiculous. And they can't expect the ACTRA to agree to something like that. It's just insane.
When I heard that, right, I was going to bring that up too. When I heard that, you could say in a certain sense that it's legal identity theft.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's legal identity theft, because not only are they not paying for, they're only going to try to pay for your likeness one time, but then they would put it in a library of background to use over and over again for their studio shows. Over and over again. That can't happen, because what if one of those background actors all of a sudden makes it big, becomes a real legit actor, and then you get to use his likeness still, because he, at that point in time, he was just a background actor, and you get to bank off that forever?
Yeah.
No way. There's no freaking way. Like, that should never be allowed, because that is exactly as I said. I believe it's legal identity theft, and you can't allow that to happen. You just can't. You should be paid for your likeness.
Yeah, well, we saw the fight with the NCAA and the athletes, and a lot of them were, fighting for that kind of right. They were constantly saying that, they couldn't believe that they could, these colleges and universities could benefit off their likeness and utilize it however they felt like and make tons of money. And these guys never got a penny from it. That was a very good fight that I'm glad they took to court and made, them get a ruling on it. And, I'm glad that this fight's happening, because, I don't think there's very many people, reasonable minded people, thinking that this is a right, thing that, it sounds reasonable. No, I can't see anybody saying it except greedy corporate types that are at the top of these, production studios and huge film corporations. It's crazy that they would even consider that being, in the slightest bit reasonable.
Well, of course it's not reasonable, but it's like, it's the cost of doing business. For them, it's just like, well, let's see if we can get away with it first.
Right.
And we're just going to do it, right? And eventually they're going to stop us, but at least we're going to have a little, we're going to get a little bit, right? Before they stop us.
Yeah.
And it's just, at the end of the day, I think they always knew it was going to get to this point, but they just wanted to try to push it as far as they could. And now that the pushing it's now stopped because they can't push it any further, now it's going to be a real battle. And I've kind of always thought that this was going to take a while, but now that the actors have finally said, okay, that's enough of that nonsense, we're out. Now it's going to take a while. Yeah. Like now, because not only are like the studios and executive producers, not only do they have to deal with the actors now, but they're going to have to deal with the writers at the same time, because you can't just deal with the actors and then still have to deal with the writers, and then still that be another couple of months. Yeah. Right? No, man, you're going to have to do it all together now, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to be off of work for quite a while. I don't see either side wanting to budge and try to find some common ground. These are very, very huge, life-changing, fight. the gap that they need to bridge is just insane, and I'm not sure how they get there. Yeah, because it doesn't seem like they would, really ever agree to some AI types of things like this, or or the residual thing is something that they've been fighting, and most of them have been fighting for a really long time for. This is the first time since 1960 that both the writers and the actors are out at the same time. So that is a very long stretch of time, and the world has changed immensely since. So, the problems and the issues that they had back then have to be tenfold now.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the same. They're not the same issues. And like again, with my example I was giving to you before of like the AI just being able to construct it for you, like a movie. Like at the end of the day, you could foresee that maybe none of us are needed.
Yeah.
And you just have a kid at home to say, I just want to create a children's story with this and this as a theme and blah blah blah. Like your parents are doing that for your kid. So he makes a story and then just goes, play, boom. There you go. Watch that and don't bother me for a couple hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the last time the actors were on strike, I think it was when the actors were on strike when the reality TV craze really hit big. I think a lot of these studios, a lot of these networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, they're going to have to look at that very soon, because most productions, when they hit the beginning of the TV season in September, they've banked all these episodes and things through the summer here. When they know that they're not going to get there, what kind of program are they going to have? There's sports, there's reality TV, and maybe what else? Game shows? I don't know. What do you think we're going to be seeing in September?
Reality TV, because since it's unscripted, that's what's allowed. So just a ton of reality TV, or like a ton of game shows, like Ninja Warrior, those obstacle course type TV shows and stuff like that. That's about all I can see, because it's not like if you're watching, let's say, I don't know, I'm going old school, Law and Order, and so you're waiting for your next season of Law and Order. Well, you're not going to get that guy. You might not get him for a while. So anybody waiting for their next season of whatever show that they were really into, I'm sorry to say, you're going to be waiting for quite some time for that next season.
Yeah. So the production companies in the UK, they're not currently on strike. They're not the same union. They are completely different. Some of them have said productions going forward, if any of the actors, any of the writers are acting in solidarity with their Hollywood North American people, they run the risk of getting fired, getting sued. So do you see many productions just deciding, okay, that's where we're going. We're going to different parts of the world where this isn't a thing. This isn't something that we have to worry about.
You could see that, but are they going to get the same quality of work? They will not. But I guess it always comes down to dollars and cents. If they can afford to weather the storm, then I think those that can will, and those that can't will try to go somewhere else and do exactly what you said and try to get their thing done in a different country. But I see that what Britain is doing with the threat of saying, well, we could sue you, that could really blow up in their face.
Yeah.
That could super blow up in their face, because then, yes, you are your own entity. But if you need some of those American actors to come over for your shows, they might not do it.
Yeah.
Because of what you did.
Wow. Yeah. I'm opening up a whole new can of worms there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you, me, and hundreds of thousands of our brothers and sisters are out of work. I hope everybody's got a little bit of a war chest saved up and can survive this. I'm sure there will be some people seeking other ways of employment. The Complete Media Network has really started to put the full court press on, as they say, and we launched a new channel this week. It's called the Complete Business Media, and we are launching a few more channels coming up this week. The Complete Business Media is going to be focused a lot on side hustles and ways of making money from different streams, different ways, mostly online stuff where you can work from your house. And that seems to be really taking off for a lot of people, especially since the pandemic hit. A lot of people were forced to be home. A lot of people were forced out of their work. And a lot of people started looking at alternative ways of bringing in a few extra dollars. And some people have been able to completely replace their income that they were making before. I think this Complete Business Media is going to blow up for us, and it's going to help. If you personally, Jason, need help, or anybody listening and or watching, we can tell you some of the side hustles we've vetted, some of the ones that seem to be really good, some of the ones that don't, and yeah, we'd love to help as many people out as we can.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's great. It's great to get like all that information at one place, which is a Complete Business Media, and to know just what the right things to do, like especially if it comes to like trying to promote your brand or yourself through YouTube or whatever, and knowing how to market yourself, how to come across, how to make yourself give yourself that charisma through the lens, right? So that people are just kind of gravitate towards you, and they want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. So yeah, for everybody out there, just tune into Complete Media Network. Go to our Instagram channels, go to our YouTube channels, and there'll be tons of information there. And we'll hopefully be able to help out a lot of people. There is trillions of dollars being spent every year online, and there's lots of opportunities, lots of money out there. We would love to be able to tune you into it, and so you don't have to be stressed. Luckily, I don't have a lot of mouths to feed, so I'm less stressed than some of our friends that have wives, kids, mortgages, car payments, a lot of things like that. And luckily you and I are in a bit more enviable position being out of work for a while, but people that really need money soon, I'm sure it gets stressful.
Of course it's going to get stressful because children need food. It sucks because you're like, oh, you need to get fed again? Like again? Oh wow, that was quick. Anyway, so yeah, they need food and clothing and roof over their heads and stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then there's some families that decided, you know what? One child's not enough. I'm gonna really go for it. I'm gonna go for 3 or 4. Well, that's a lot of mouths to feed again. And so yeah, man, this is not easy. This whole stoppage for us is not easy. It's not easy for anybody. And then knowing too that it's like, okay, so I'm gonna have to, like, some people are gonna have to dust off the resume and be like, I haven't looked at this thing in a while. When was the last thing I had on here? 2002. I'm gonna have to update it.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I'm glad you shared some of your weekend. I'd like to share a little bit of mine. Had a really awesome day on Friday. Got to go and watch some of the pro beach volleyball tournament down at Kitts Beach. I got to see some over the weekend as well. And then I went and met up with a friend of mine, hadn't seen in a while. He is the TV producer for the Vancouver Canucks broadcast on Sportsnet. And him and I went down to Vancouver Fish Company, had an amazing dinner, drinks, and really good catch up. Really set off my weekend very well. And I was happy that we could make it work. It's been tough. He's a super busy guy, flies all around North America during the season. And then he has about a month where he has to sort of get into life. And then he says, okay, now I'm free. Let's hang out. So that was a fun day. And yeah, kicked off the weekend really good.
Oh, nice, nice. So you know what? It's always good catching up with people that you haven't seen for a while. I'm trying to do that myself, but again, when they have children, makes it very hard because I'm like, I don't understand what's so hard about it. I'm free. Oh, right, I have children.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to put up a bit of footage that we captured for the Vancouver volleyball tournament. It comes every year. It was the 30th annual pro tournament that they have down there every summer. And man, we had some of the top talent there. And man, it was fun volleyball. Big crowd. They also had a wheelchair tennis tournament there, which was very interesting to watch. Very fun. Man, they are it's incredible how they can spin the chair around and return the ball, and you know, it's going really quick. They hit the ball very hard and super agile on these wheelchairs, modified wheelchairs that they put. So it was fun. I got to watch 2 tournaments this weekend, and that was awesome. And great to see such high level athleticism down on kids right close to where I live.
Yeah, that's well, especially with like the wheelchairs. Like I wouldn't even have any idea how to quickly change direction in a wheelchair because like it's hard enough when you have 2 legs. And now if you're in a wheelchair, that would be kind of tough. So that's impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Finished off the weekend, went to the folk festival that's also down in Kitts. Huge amount of bands there. I think they had around 60-70 bands over the weekend. Saw an amazing artist named William Prince. He's one of my favorite Canadian artists, and it's great to go down for that. And great weather. It was a little cooler this morning, which was kind of nice when I went on my walk. It has been getting pretty humid lately, so it was nice that we got a little reprieve this morning. But yeah, fantastic weekend. I was up early both mornings, very early, like 5 a.m. both mornings. I was watching the Wimbledon tennis, the ladies final on Saturday, the men's final on Sunday. Huge upset in the ladies final. An unranked girl won for the first time in history, I think, in the Wimbledon. It was the first time an unranked player since Billie Jean King in 1963 that had even made the final. And she was a girl from Czechia, the Czech Republic, and pulled off an amazing upset and won. And that was cool. And then yesterday, Novak Djokovic was dethroned. First time he's lost in over 10 years at Wimbledon at center court and in the final. The guy had won 4 straight Wimbledons and had won the first 2 majors this year. And then this young kid, he's 20 years old. 16 years younger than Djokovic, came in and upset him, was able to beat him in 5 sets. Epic 5-hour match I watched that morning, and man, it was incredible tennis. So amazing to watch, and just incredible to see this young guy dethrone the best player of all time.
What was the young man's name?
His name is Carlos Alcaraz.
Alvarez. Is he
He's
what nationality?
He's from Spain.
He's Spaniard.
Yeah.
So he's just like the fellow Spaniard. What's the dude's name?
Rafael Nadal. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So is he going to be is he literally the heir apparent to Rafael Nadal?
Yeah.
Because yeah. Oh man, well then Spain must be very happy because they got this guy waiting in the wings. It's like, oh, he can already beat Djokovic, so he's good. He's good.
Yeah, it was crazy. The Spanish players are always very good on hard court surfaces. They're amazing on clay. They're amazing on at the US Open, really good. They've always struggled a bit on the soft court surfaces like Wimbledon, the grass. And I don't think Djokovic ever thought that this guy would be able to beat him on the grass. But Alvarez has risen up to #1 in the world. Djokovic is #2 in the world. Alvarez had won other tournaments and had really started leading up to it. He won this tournament called the Queen's Club Tournament on grass leading into this, and he had never had this great of a run on grass. Somehow him and his team figured out how to play on grass, and it was you know, a very great 2 weeks that he had. But everybody just thought, okay, Djokovic, he's won 4 in a row, unbeaten on center court in 10 years, greatest of all time, going for his 24th Grand Slam, he's gonna win. But Djokovic won the first set 6-1, and this guy ended up winning in 5 sets. He won in the tie break in the second set, and Djokovic had made about 3 mental errors, some unforced errors, and it's just seemed to turn the tide. All of a sudden, Alvarez won a couple sets, and he was looking like he was maybe going to pull this upset off, and then Djokovic won 2 more, or won another one, and put it into the 5th set, and back and forth in the 5th set, and Alvarez pulled it off. It was one of the greatest tennis matches I've ever seen, and it was super impressive that a guy could, at 20 years old, come in, and he must have felt so much pressure. He must have felt so many nerves, you know, and having to face the greatest of all time and beat him. It was pretty neat, and I think it's going to be very memorable for everyone that got a chance to see it.
Oh yeah, and it's for him, it's going to be a crowning achievement moment, right? Because you could basically say that was the year where I turned it myself from being a contender to being the number 1, and where I had the belief, knowing that I can do this because I just took that guy out, and I'm on this incredible run. And so now they're on a race to see who's going to end up as number 1 by the end of this season, this tennis season, right? And the kid literally has a real shot at saying, I'm going to be number 1.
No, he is number 1. He put him he was number 1 going into the tournament, but still Joker was still favored to win, but he's solidified that number 1 in the world position. So
okay, so if he keeps it like that, man, that's like that gives you all the confidence in the world that you can do this, and that you belong. Yeah, I think he already knows that, but now he definitely knows that he belongs there, and he's going to be a great along with all the rest of them.
Yeah, I can see it. They've been waiting for years on who could join that top 3, top 4 guys. You know, that's been such a crazy time for tennis, having like 3 or 4 of the top players of all time, probably the 3 best players of all time, constantly just winning all the Grand Slams. This Alvarez guy is only the 4th active player that's playing tennis still that has won Wimbledon singles match. There's just Federer, Nadal, and Federer's gone. Sorry, Nadal, Djokovic, and Andy Murray are the only 3 guys that are still playing on tour that have won that tournament. So, you know, at 20 years old, you know, I think the sky's the limit. As long as he can stay healthy, you know, he could, you know, be the dominant player of this era. And I don't, you know, not counting out Djokovic, though, you know, he's 36, but I think he's probably going to win 4 or 5, 6 more majors. And I think he'll be, you know, definitely hands down the greatest of all time, until maybe Alvarez, you know, 15, 20 years from now could take that crown. But yeah, anyway, it was great, and I'm really happy I got up early and watched it. It was one of those sporting moments that I don't think I'll ever forget.
It's funny now when you look at like the greatest, right?
Yeah.
The greatest now have this thing with longevity.
Yeah.
So now, if you want to be known as the greatest, not only are you going to have to play and win, you're going to have to play and win for a freaking long time.
Yeah.
To be seen as the greatest.
Yeah.
And hey, I wish Alvarez all the best in the world for that. But he has to know, I'm gonna have to be like super awesome for like 20 years.
Yeah.
For me to be seen as the greatest, right? Yeah. So that's a lot of work.
Yeah. It's gonna take 20 years of incredible top level tennis to, you know, become that. So yeah. It's going to be hard to dethrone most of the goats that are out there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's just yeah, it's almost like it's an insurmountable mountain in front of you. Like, because when you talk about Mahomes, and Mahomes is like, oh, so we'll just match him up against Brady. I'm like, is that really fair? Is that fair?
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
yeah. I'm sorry if I've been calling him Alvarez. It's Alcaraz. Alcaraz. That's how
Alcaraz.
that's how you pronounce it. So Alcaraz.
Okay, because I would have just stayed with Alvarez because it sounds more Spanish.
Yeah,
Alcaraz? I
yeah.
never even heard of Alcaraz before. This is the
Yeah.
first.
No, let's call him by his right name. He deserves it.
Okay, all right, fine. Alcaraz
We butcher MMA names every week,
all the time.
but let's keep the tennis guys. Tennis is just as tough. Calling tennis players names. I remember on the radio having to read out the tennis highlights on a Monday, and oh man, just being like, oh no, how do I say this name? Oh man, just so many V's and vowels, and holy cow! Like, yeah, they have so many Eastern European players in tennis that it's tough. It's a very tough job to say their names all right.
Yeah, because then you're just like, okay, so now you just got to take a look. Did this guy ever say his own name? So I'll just say it like he says his own name, because that would be right.
Yeah. See if you can find an interview. Yeah, then yeah, for sure. Yeah, because there are other sportscasters out there that butcher people's names, and
All
they
the
don't really get called out. They're just blah blah blah, and nobody does much. They're like, yeah, I try my best. But yeah, if you listen to the person speak their own name, then yeah, you're like, they should be able to say it right. So
Yeah.
you're golden.
Yeah, because I know I've seen that before where the guy goes, well, I tried to get your name right. And then the player actually said, did you? Did you really try?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So also across the pond, over in Scotland over the weekend, they had the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, European Tour, merged for this one tournament this year. They're talking about the merge for next year, but they did a tournament called the Scottish Open. Most of the top players in the world were there, leading up to the Open Championship that's happening over in the UK this coming week. This weekend's tournament was fun to watch. I watched a ton of it, and Rory McIlroy ended up winning it. He birdied the 17th hole and the 18th hole, only guy to do so on Sunday, to take out the hometown hero, a guy named Robert McIntyre, a Scottish guy. And so, fans were happy in a way, but this is an Irish guy knocking off a Scottish guy. The Scottish guy had finished about 4 or 5 holes before Rory did, was in the clubhouse, watching on TV, went out to the range, was keeping practicing. You thought it was going into a playoff because nobody had birdied 17 and 18, and Rory pulled it off. Incredible golf down the stretch. Just ended up winning it and looks really good heading into the Open Championship. Trying to stop a 9-year drought in the majors. Still one of the best players in the world, but he just can't seem to pull it off in the majors. But it was a fun tournament to watch. It's incredible to watch golf from over there because they invented it in Scotland. It's very different, very unique compared to golf over here. So yeah, I enjoyed watching a ton of that as well.
Oh yeah, well, it's cool when there's that rivalry like that where you have the Irish guy versus the Scottish guy, and everybody's just like, well, I guess as long as they're not English, then we're good.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah. And American, they were not happy to have any Americans up there, and most of the Americans faded way back. So yeah, it was fun. It was quite the rivalry, and yeah, sort of this guy McIntyre, unexpectedly, he shot the best round of the day by far. He shot a 64, I think, and he just came roaring back, and he was in the lead, and you thought, oh man, the guy's gonna pull this off, and then McIlroy did. So anyway, I'm looking forward to the Open Championship starting this Thursday and going through the weekend. It's always incredible, and the last major of the year is always really fun to watch. So but speaking of golf, one of the biggest things that happened locally here in North America was the American Century Championship and Steph Curry being able to win it for the first time. Huge hole-in-one on Saturday that was viral for hours and hours and hours, and probably going to be shown for Steph for many years to come. And then he sort of even one-upped it on Sunday. He was able to hit a walk-off eagle putt on 18 to take the championship, ran over, hugged his wife, hugged his kids, and just did laps around the green. Man, he said today that it was one of the greatest moments of his life, and he's such a massive golf guy, and it was pretty cool to see him be able to master another sport like this and be the top celebrity. When it rains, it pours for these types of guys, and it's incredible that he could do so well in a second sport.
Yeah, sometimes you look at a guy and you go, well, that's not right. That's not fair. That's not fair. It's almost like he's got God's favor. Like, it's like, oh no, man, that's my boy right there. That's my guy. It's like, well, clearly he is. He can play two sports. So yeah, you got it.
Yeah, he's
got it.
He's amazing. It blows my mind, and it's just wild to see a guy, especially that hole-in-one. I sent you that. Did you?
Yeah, I saw it. It was impressive. Impressive, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
And it's not the first time he's done that. He's holding one before too. Like that to me is the most amazing thing, that this guy is that good that he's like, oh no. Usually a person's lucky to get one hole-in-one in their entire lifetime.
Yeah.
I believe Stephen's done it not just once, but a couple times.
Wow.
Which is, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to sort of read off some of the guys that were here. Steph, I heard Steph say that he was really proud to be in this tournament because it's actually tuning in a lot more people to the game because they want to see their athletic heroes and see how they do. They're a little less untouchable than the pros are, that guys that, have been playing since they were young kids and reached to such an elite level that none of us could. So, you don't see everybody hitting perfect shots. You guys see these guys struggle a little bit, but some of the top guys are really pretty damn talented. He beat a guy named Marty Fish. He was a former pro tennis player. Marty's won this tournament a few times, and it was pretty awesome to see him win it. Joe Pavelski, very good hockey player. He's won a Stanley Cup, and he was in Steph's group when he hit that hole-in-one, and that was great to see. Aaron Rodgers ended up finishing 5th in the tournament. Pretty impressive. Tony Romo finished 8th. John Elway was tied for 9th. Del Curry was 11th. Seth Curry was in it. I'll find out exactly where he was. Marshall Falk was 14th. Adam Thielen also 14th. Vinny Del Negro. We had Brian Urlacher, Derek Carr, Doug Peterson, Alfonso Ribeiro. He's always in it. It's kind of fun to see him. Ray Allen was tied for 24th with Alfonso. Tim Brown. We had lots of guys, man. Charles Woodson, Jerome Bettis, Josh Allen. Josh Allen almost got a hole-in-one too. It was like inches. It was just right beside the cup on Sunday. Joe Buck was in it. Larry Fitzgerald, Jerry Rice, Rondé Barber, Patrick Peterson, Joe Theismann. Seth Curry tied for 46. Canelo Alvarez was one shot behind him. On and on and on. Pretty incredible. The guy that finished at the very bottom was Don Cheadle. He was so far behind, it's insane. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know how I don't know. It must have shot 150 or something crazy, because he was like the worst by a mile. Yeah, anyway, like, holy cow, the list is massive. Barkley was in it as always. Vince Carter, Emmett Smith, Kyle Lowry.
Wow.
Patrick Mahomes was there.
Travis Kelce?
I would figure so. Kelsey was in that match with him just about a
Yeah,
week ago.
a week ago. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right.
So
I remember that.
anyway, it was fun to watch as well. I love seeing all the sports stars, try their hand at it. Some of them suck, but well, most of them are pretty decent, and they have a lot of fun. And yeah, Steph had the most fun of all, especially getting the hole in one and winning it on a walk-off 18th hole eagle like that. Incredible.
I'm sure the food after and then the after party must have been incredible because look at all those guys that are there. Like that's ridiculous. Like that's just a who's who of like almost everybody in the sporting world. But it sounds like from everybody that you just mentioned, at least Steph can say, "Oh, it looks like I'm the biggest winner here. I'm the most winningest guy." I don't think anybody else has four rings. Anybody else? Nope.
That's true. Yeah. He's got bragging rights over that too. Holy cow. Yeah. Yeah. I saw him talk today, and he's promoting a new documentary show that's coming out on Apple TV on Friday. It's called Underrated, and it goes back to his days as a high schooler, heading to Davidson, heading into the NBA. Very underrated. A lot of bad, talk about him that he wasn't athletic enough, he wasn't tall enough. There was, many aspects why they said he wouldn't be a good NBA player. And the interviewer asked, when's the last time you feel like you were underrated? And he said, it might be weird to say, but I still do. And he said it fuels me to this day. There are still people that say negative things about me and doubt me and undermine my achievements. And he said it, I think, still fuels me and helps me be as good as I am still.
Kind of hard for me to think to myself, like if you're a logical thinking person, it's like, okay, so you think he's trash. It's like, what are you talking about? No, the dude is he created a dynasty in the Golden State Warriors, right? Like he won 4 championships. You could now argue that he's in the argument for top 10 players ever to play in the NBA. And by the way, there's no argument about if he's the greatest shooter. Right. He is.
Yeah.
There's no argument about that part. He is the greatest shooter we've ever seen. Yeah. So for anybody to try to lessen his achievements it just sounds completely ridiculous to me. Because what are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, I love Max Kellerman, and I agree with, majority of his takes, and I watch his show a lot, and I have been watching him, back to his, very main boxing days. And, he criticized Curry up until after last year. He's saying he never won an MVP in the final. He never was stepping up in the final and being the reason why they won. Look at all the other guys. KD won the MVPs there. Andre Iguodala won their MVP in the first championship. So, Steph's not that great, and stuff like that he would say. And I don't know if he did it just to be clickbait or, he really feels that way. But there's one typical guy that criticized him quite frequently up until last year when finally Steph won the MVP.
Yeah, I know. Because I remember Max doing one of the most ridiculous takes I've ever heard in my life. So, because I think his take was, if I had to pick somebody from the Golden State Warriors, this is years ago, mind you. I believe this is like when the Warriors maybe won their first championship.
Okay.
He basically said, if I had a gun to my head and I had to take the guy that's going to take that shot on my Warriors team, Andre Iguodala. That was who he picked. And I'm like, that's when I stopped listening to Max Kellerman.
That was it.
Like, all right, okay, that's nonsense. Thank you.
Yeah. I think on the when he was on First Take with Stephen A. Smith, I think he always, they had to have differing opinions. And so, even if they might have been ridiculous, and maybe I don't know. I can't say. Maybe he, will always stand by the things he said, but I would question it. I often disagree with Stephen A. Smith, and I often disagree with his, very outrageous takes. But yeah, anyway, there are people out there that still criticize Steph to this day, and luckily he's shutting more and more and more of them up every year.
Only thing I want Steph to do is we'll just keep shutting them up, because every time you do that, that's just fantastic basketball for me as a fan to watch. So I hope he feels extremely disrespected for the rest of his career, because you know what that means?
Yeah,
it's going to be great basketball for us for the next 8 years.
More titles and more great performances from him. So yeah, I remember when we watched the Last Dance documentary, it seemed like Michael Jordan used that as fuel all the time. You and I witnessed it live when, people disrespected him. He just turned it on, and we saw it, constantly during out of his career. And I think a lot of athletes do that. I think Tom Brady said he did that. He was constantly, discounted as the reason why they won all the Super Bowls, and it was Belichick and that kind of thing. And so, these guys, some of them need it as fuel.
Yeah, and also too, they're extremely competitive. Like I believe I was watching a podcast with Julian Edelman, and Brady told Edelman, "Oh, I'm chasing greatness. I'm chasing Jordan." And then Edelman's like, "Wait, that's basketball, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, but I'm talking about the rings, right? Because he's like, I'm chasing. I want to equal him. I want to get 6."
Right.
And he's just like, "Oh, okay. Well, luckily I played with you, so I'm gonna get a couple. So this is gonna be great."
Yeah.
And then for him to actually eclipse Jordan and get 7, that's just, you can't rank that. You can't make that up.
Yeah. Well, I think it's necessary to reach that type of greatness. Tiger Woods was always chasing Jack Nicklaus's record. He said he had those amount of majors. I got to get there, and it fueled him and has the most elite athletes I've seen during our generation have had somebody. Wayne Gretzky had Gordie Howe. That was his hero growing up. He got a chance to meet him at a young age, and he always chased him. And when he beat Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe's record, he said it was the greatest achievement that he ever had. And that was something that he started chasing as a young kid, and probably got him out of bed every morning, got him to practice, got him to go to these games and play at his absolute best all the time. And I remember he said that his dad always said to him that you got to think that somebody could be seeing you for the first time, so you got to give him your best effort every time. He was really mad at him one game where he only scored 3 or 4 goals, and he could have easily scored 8, and he's like, hey, don't give that kind of effort anytime. Like, give 100% every time you hit the ice, and you'll never have any regrets.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I think even Kobe had a story about that. I think the story was related from his wife, during the ESPYs or something like that. Anyways, just saying that Kobe always played because he remembered seeing his favorite player do the same thing and always play, and related to Michael Jordan. Because that's why he goes, "No days off for me, pal." Like, he understood how important it was for those fans that look up to you, for you to perform for them, and to be available for them, because one of those kids could be the next me.
Sure.
And then I'll be instrumental in their growth because they got to see me. They got to dream to see, can I make it to that point? Can I get there? I'll have to work for it, but I can see that there's a path there that I can take to get there, to get to greatness, right? So, and that's another problem again with the NBA, where I don't think some of these guys take that approach. They don't take that seriously enough. They just don't.
Yeah, that's where money can possibly ruin a sport, and the load management that we've seen is unprecedented now, and I don't think we see full out effort, especially in the regular season, from most players anymore. It's very rare that you're going to see a guy put in 100% every night. And, imagine the people that got to see Kobe Bryant's last game. He scores 61 and, just it was an absolute monster. And he was, super hobbled through, very, very painful injuries and really his age had caught up to him. But, they got to see him, put in that one last full-on effort to show everyone, hey, I could do it if I really, if I just put in this 100% effort, this is what I can do.
Exactly. I got put in full effort, and I got to put up a lot of shots. Put up a lot of shots for that one. But at the end of the day, it's a great Kobe Bryant, and if that's the way that he wants to go out, and I believe they did win that game, well, then that's the way it's going to happen. Yeah. Because he's earned the right to do that.
Yeah.
He's earned the right to do that. I remember hearing that off a podcast where everybody's like, well, should people do that, do their send off like Kobe did? And then the one guy goes, yeah, but that's Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah. Different. He deserves it. He was their iconic player for that franchise for however many years he played. So yeah, he got that right.
Exactly. And he brought them 5 championships.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Definitely get
yeah. The other thing that Curry said in the interview was he really feels like he has to get back to the 3-point contest over the next few years and try to match or beat the weekend's performance by Sabrina Ionescu from the WNBA. She put up, I think it was
37.
She put up 37 points. She only missed 2 shots out of the entire all the racks and out of the entire contest. 37 out of possible 40 points. The record in the WNBA before was 30, and the record in the NBA is 31. So she absolutely blew both records right off the map. And she was also at Kobe Bryant's memorial, and she was a player that Kobe Bryant sought out to mentor and to try to be helpful to her as she embarked on her professional career. And it was pretty wild to see her just launching those threes, nailing them, and Steph goes out, now I got another record to break. I better make sure I'm in the competition over the next few years.
I thought it was awesome. Because I saw that on my Instagram feed, and I was just like, oh, man. And, I didn't know that Steph actually had the record. I thought he was close, but I didn't know. I thought it was either between him and Dame. One of them had the record.
Right.
Anyway, but the fact that she smashed it, 37, I was like, ooh. I was like, I don't know anybody that's going to be beating that anytime. But if Steph goes, yeah, probably this season coming up. He's like, oh no, that can't stand. I'm going to beat that. So if anybody can beat it, it's him. But what an accomplishment by her. What an accomplishment.
So amazing. Yeah, she was on fire. I watched the whole thing about 3 times. She just has perfect form and just constantly hitting them, man. And the roar of the crowd, the anticipation of her, setting records and almost hitting every single one of them. There was a lot of basketball royalty there too. I saw tons of people in the crowd, KD and James Harden, and I saw, on and on and on. A lot of NBA stars were there, as well as WNBA royalty like Sue Bird and stuff. And it was great. It was really cool. She stole the show on the weekend for sure.
I like the fact that I don't know when it started happening, but it seems to me, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that a lot of the NBA players are trying to help promote more the WNBA by being there at these events. I think that's fantastic. I think that's great. Hopefully that never stops.
Yeah.
You know what? It may be even due to the fact that, as players and as you have families, for those guys that have daughters, why wouldn't you do that? Right?
Yeah, totally.
It just, when I think of it in that context, and that's what really makes sense. But regardless even if you don't have that, that's what they should be doing anyway. They should be helping promote their fellow sisters in them trying to go for greatness in their sport in the WNBA.
Yeah, I think I saw a turning point happening when they had the bubble. I think that was kind of where I guess the players probably had the first opportunity where they could really spend some time with them because they're playing. And, during that time when the WNBA is going, these guys are off season. They're trying to spend time with their families now. They probably didn't get too many opportunities to meet them, to watch them, to, interact with them and stuff. And I think that was a huge turning point where they said, hey, I'd really like to give them as much time and support as I can.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important because if they succeed, we succeed, we all succeed together. Yeah. So let's try to make that like a real reality. And I think that narrative, what they're trying to do, that's the best thing they can do at this point in time.
The NHL is trying to do that. They're going to try to get behind a new professional women's league, and the women are hoping that it's going to be called the WNHL, and then they will be able to have owners of the teams be the same owners as the NHL teams. They'll be able to have cross promotions. They'll be able to have a lot of players supporting them. And I think it's a no-brainer. It's working really well now in the WNBA. I'm seeing more coverage than I ever did, getting more information, getting, to find out, to know more about these players where there just really wasn't coverage. So it's hard to, follow a league, a player, a team when you just don't know anything about it and you never see any coverage.
Yeah. It's incredibly hard to follow these teams if you just don't know anything about them because you never see them on TV. I hope that the NHL is able to pull this off. I think there needs to be just more professional women's leagues.
Yeah,
it does. And I think that's a great step for the NHL to take, and then hopefully that all comes together sooner than later.
Right? Yeah. The top female athletes, salary wise or net worth, and the ones that make the most money every year are the tennis players. And they were able to get a landmark agreement years ago where they get the same prize money as the men. So, the men's champion gets the same amount of prize money as the women. And now these women are really highly regarded. They're highly sought after by corporations, by so many people out there that want to see them, want to, make them have public appearances. And they've become, the most famous women athletes. And I think a lot of these other leagues should, start trying to figure out how to get the money up so that these, people can be these athletes can be as highly regarded, and the interest level probably just grows from there.
Yeah. They're just going to have to come up with proper marketing strategies and stuff. Totally. And then also to try to appeal to young ladies that, that are into sports or thinking of getting into sports, and just seeing the fact that, yes, you can be successful at this. You can actually even play at a professional level and provide for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that being the most important thing, that if you do make it to professional level, you get paid enough that you can provide and have a good life, good quality of life.
Yeah. The WNBA All-Star game was yesterday. It was won by Team Stewart's All-Stars over Team Wilson's All-Stars, Asia Wilson. Breanna Stewart was captain. She won 143-127 high score. The MVP was a guard from the Seattle Storm. Her name's Jewel Lloyd. She set an WNBA All-Star game record with most points at 31 points. She had 4 rebounds and 6 assists. And Breanna Stewart was a Seattle Storm player. Sue Bird, courtside, 4-time WNBA champion and one of the most recognizable players. Brittany Griner was picked first overall by Breanna Stewart, and she ended up getting a couple of dunks, and that's why Stewart said she drafted her first overall. We needed some inside presence and some big dunks. I think that was the 6th WNBA All-Star Game dunk for Brittany Griner. Not very many women have ever dunked in the NBA, WNBA, and great to see her back and contributing that much. Kelsey Plum was the top scorer for Team Wilson with 30 points, but yeah, it was fun. I watched quite a bit of the highlights, and yeah, I'm enjoying more and more and more of the WNBA as it comes on all the time, and yeah, it just has that coverage that just never seemed to ever be there before.
Yeah. That's the most important thing. Like, it's actually being covered. Like, I can go onto my cable package and I can find a game, where before that was very, very hard thing to do, if impossible.
Yeah. Okay, sticking with basketball, let's talk about what Phoenix Suns have done over the weekend. They got rid of Cameron Payne, just ended up getting some draft picks, and now under contract 15 players, 11 on minimum salaries, and 4 stars. So they've got Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Bradley Beal under contract. They're all making massive money, and then they got 11 minimum contracts. They were able to pick up Bull over the weekend, who's emerged as a talent now. He started about 50 games for the Magic last year and had career highs in all the categories. 7'4", I think he is, and
Yeah.
so you know, he'll be good to spurn off and utilize when Ayton needs some rest, or they need some more inside presence for blocks and stuff. But can this work? 11 minimum contracts and 3 maxes, and Ayton also getting paid very heavily. Is this team going to compete like everybody says they are?
Man, I guess, you know what? It's going to come down to, like, when those other guys sub in, are they going to be able to hold their own? It's an interesting almost experiment that they're diving into, because it could be a blueprint for how some of the other future NBA teams are going to be constructed because of the new CBA. That you're just going to have like a glut of guys, 2, 3, 4 guys that get the bulk of the money, and then nobody else gets anything. I'm curious to see how well they do, how good they're going to be, how competitive they're going to be, because I assume they are. But at the same time, out of Durant, Booker, and Beal, one of those 3 are going to have to sacrifice a little bit more of their game. I think that third guy's going to be Beal. I think Beal's going to have to sacrifice more than those other 2. Those other 2 are going to get the bulk of the shots, and Beal will get his, but just not as much as those other 2 guys.
Right.
And the other thing is, Cameron Payne was, I thought, going to be one of the point guards coming off the bench. Now that he's gone, I have no idea who's going to run the offense now that he's gone.
Yeah.
That's a good question. And then now with their starters, I'm kind of curious to see. Booker's done it before Chris Paul was there, where he ran the offense. I don't know if they still want him to do that, or is it going to be Bradley Beal that's going to be running the offense? Again, another question that obviously will be answered once the start of the season happens, but I'm curious to see how that's going to work out for the team.
Yeah, I don't know how you figure out a rotation with this type of team. It's going to be, you know, hair pulling out. Maybe Monty Williams is like, hey, I'm glad I got the hell out of there. I don't know what I would have done. Because, yeah, like, how are they going to be able to keep these guys healthy? You know, there have been health issues with Kevin Durant and even Devin Booker to some degree. DeAndre Ayton's got banged up. You don't want these guys playing, you know, the kind of minutes that the Raptors guys played last year. And, you know, but how are you going to be able to, you know, stay, you know, are you just going to try to run up the score and then hope that when your players are off the court, the other team doesn't catch up enough? Yeah, it's one of the weirdest combination rosters I've ever seen, if not the strangest.
Yeah, because you got a lot of overlap, because you got a lot of guys, like 3 guys in particular, that are mid-range assassins, but that's overlap. Like, where's the guy that's going to be flying off screens like a Duncan Robinson that can do the spot up 3s? Can Beal do that? Is he capable of doing that? Does he even want to do that? Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, one of those guys is going to have to kind of adapt their game to the other two.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe it has to be Bradley Beal. He has to know that was always going to be a thing. It's not like he's going to be like, well, Devin, I guess you're not getting as many shots today because I'm going to take your shots. That's never going to happen. That's not going to be a thing. That's not going to be a thing. So that's something that they're going to have to figure out as time goes by. Yeah, but like you said, the roster construction is definitely very different this time around for the Suns.
Yeah, very, very different. Yeah. Yeah, I see, I see a little bit of trouble also with the Warriors trying to bring in Chris Paul and knowing what, he said he's not set on coming off the bench. He's like, I'm not set on that. I don't think you're the coach. So, asking me that question, I'm not telling everybody, yeah, sure, I'm off the bench. So, there's going to be Steve Kerr having a little bit of issues trying to figure out how to keep everybody happy there.
Yeah. Because at this point in time in Chris Paul's career, you could say, well, no, actually, I think you are going to be coming off the bench now. Like a lot of guys had to do that adjustment. Like Carmelo Anthony, for example, had to make that adjustment. His mental adjustment of, okay, now if I want to keep playing in the league, I'm going to have to come off the bench.
Yeah.
Because, all right, let's say, for example, Chris Paul is going to be a starter. So you're going to have the smallest lineup ever. Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney. What?
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't know, man. I don't know if that works.
No.
I don't know if that works.
No, probably doesn't. No. I wish the Warriors would have figured out how to get a big man. I think they could have got Bol, and they should have brought him in as a guy. You move Draymond to small forward, you keep Kevon at power forward, and then you got Bol in the center, and then you bring Chris Paul off the bench for your second unit. I think it would have worked great. On a minimum contract, I'm surprised they wouldn't try to get a true proper center in there.
Yeah, because the one thing that the team is lacking is size.
Yeah,
and they kind of never addressed it, so they're still lacking in size.
Yeah. The end of Summer League happens tonight. The title game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Houston Rockets. I don't think anybody would have predicted that at the beginning of Summer League. Houston has been assembling a really good cast of young players, though, and I think they're really coming on. The Cavs were actually pretty decent last year. I think they were fourth in the conference, but I wasn't sure about their young guys. So yeah, but interesting. I think it's a sign of things to come, where it's teams that you don't expect, and they're winning these summer leagues and possibly these mid-season tournament that we're going to see this year.
Yeah. I think the emphasis for, like, especially the mid-season tournament, I think maybe like the teams that are lower in the rankings in the Eastern or Western Conference, like, this will be their chance to really improve or show out. So they'll probably take that a little bit more seriously than the teams that are ranked in, like, the top four in both, like, conferences. Because as much as they're trying to create like the NBA is trying to create so that the games are more meaningful, right? With the new tournament, as much as they're trying to do that, I still don't know if there's going to be proper buy-in from the superstars. Yeah. I still don't know if there's going to be proper buy-in from those top teams that are already, like, first, second, or third place in their conference, and they're just going to be like, yeah, I know, this is part of that ridiculous tournament, but these guys, they can't play now, and we're still going to load manage. Yeah. Like, I don't know if their philosophy, like, I guess that's what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if the philosophy is going to change for the teams. Like, even if the tournament's going on, will they still go, yeah, we're still going to do our load management thing as we always do right around this time of the season anyways. It doesn't matter if there's a tournament or not.
Yeah. I think the one thing that they have going for them is that they are regular season games that count for in the standings. And it's late fall where it becomes sort of monotonous and guys are really not playing super hard heading towards Christmas break and stuff. And the other thing is, like the World Baseball Classic was held before the season even started in baseball, and there was some catastrophic injuries, and so a lot of people were like really against this tournament. They said, this shouldn't happen to players missing out on the regular season of baseball because they played in this tournament that's meaningless in a lot of ways. And this one is regular season games, and the only games that are outside the regular season schedule are the top four when they go to Vegas. They play the four and then the title game. So, I think it has a bit bigger benefit than that World Baseball Classic in the eyes of the teams. A little more buy-in, a little less problems with fans if players do get injured during it.
Yeah, definitely no problems with fans because like it's during the regular season and it still counts, right? So definitely fans, owners won't have a problem with it because like it's definitely during the season. So it's business as usual. So yeah, you know what? I like the fact that they that Silver is able to try new things and he's willing to like put it all out on the line there and just say, you know what, we need to shake it up.
Yeah.
We got to generate some more interest. This is what we're gonna do. I commend him on that. I hope it's successful. We'll find out.
We'll find out, definitely. Okay. Just a couple more NBA stories. Is this a story that you want to discuss or just pass by? LeBron James is changing his number back to number 23. He decided to honor Bill Russell. Any player that had number 6 after Bill passed away and the NBA decided to retire it, you could grandfather it in and continue until the end of your career. He's decided he will withdraw the number 6, go back to 23 and move forward.
Classy move on LeBron's part. He didn't need to do it. Just like he didn't need to go on to ESPYs and tell us all that he's coming back and he's not going to retire. Like I think we all assumed he was going to do that. So yeah, okay, that's cool. I don't got no problem with it. Like, sure, like because like literally, if this is LeBron James we're talking about, and I don't think Bill Russell, may he rest in peace, would have a problem with it. With LeBron saying, you know what, I'm just going to wear number 6 to the end of my career. I think Bill would have been cool with it. He would have been cool.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Yeah. We're still waiting on the Damian Lillard trade. Do you think it's going to happen soon, or are we going to just wait and wait and wait and wait?
They might play it like Daryl Morey did with Ben Simmons, where he would not give up Ben Simmons until he felt that he got enough back. I think the Portland will probably do it exactly like that. But I don't think it's going to be like just a trade from one team to another. I think it has to be a 3-team trade for them to maximize their deal with Lillard. Like, and with the fact now, though, that Lillard has come out and said, it's Miami or bust. Yeah, if you're interested, don't be, because it's only Miami. Yeah. That's why definitely there has to be a third team in there. That's why a third team has to be in there so that Portland could possibly recoup as much as they can. Now, does Damian Lillard, does he actually get to where he wants to go? I don't know. Because I think Portland realizes this is our best chance to maximize this guy and get as much as we can. Sure. Like, this is it. Like, if we don't get as much as we can, we are going to regret it. And it may be very detrimental to our organization going forward in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, lots of rumors about Pascal Siakam getting traded out of Toronto. Were you surprised that this seems to be sort of an inevitable thing? It looks like the Raptors are moving on from Pascal and trying to get the best deal possible for him.
Well, there seemed to be rumblings even way before this. Like before this season, like last season, there was rumblings. There was rumblings he wasn't getting along with Nick Nurse as the coach and everything else. But now that Nick Nurse is gone, I thought, all right, well, maybe everything should be good. with him in the organization? I guess maybe not. It looks like they want to move off him as well. It's almost as if the guys that they brought up, because Fred VanVleet went somewhere else because they gave him more money, and now they want to move Pascal Siakam out. But for me, I have a question of where's your direction then? Because he's still an all-star. Yeah. And now you want to get rid of your lone all-star? There's nobody else after him. After he's gone, it's it.
Yeah, cupboard's bare. The cupboard's very bare there.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So I'm very curious about like where the organization wants to go to now going forward, because I don't know what they want to do. Because like if they're willing to get rid of their one lone all-star now, it's like, okay, well, what's the plan here, boys?
Yeah, it would be nice if Masai Ujiri and Bobby Green have a press conference and inform the fans what the direction is. It seems. Everybody's a little worried if your last all-star's gone. How long of a rebuild is this going to be, and what's happening now? You mentioned 3 teams probably happening in the mix for the trade of Damian Lillard. It looks like 3-team trade is very possible in this scenario with Pascal Siakam. I see that the Dallas Mavericks have said they're very interested in trying to pull off a 3-team trade. They really want Clint Capella, and they're hoping that there's a deal with the Hawks made so that somehow they can get Capella. Maybe Siakam could go to the Hawks and they can make a deal there. So that'll be interesting and probably quite necessary for Dallas to be able to compete with the top teams in the West.
Yeah, because like again, Dallas is still lacking size and defense. Because like how about this? Dallas is good for scoring. Man, they can score, but can they stop anybody? Still a big question mark. No. Still a big question mark.
Big question mark for sure. Okay. Huge news in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins is poised to sign a 2-year deal with the Tennessee Titans. The Titans wide receivers have been horrible since AJ Brown got traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Last year, they were just an absolute joke. It was ridiculous. Hopkins had almost as much production last year after even missing 6 games for PED use. He almost got as much cover or as much yardage, catches and touchdowns as the entire wide receiving core. There was even one game last year where the Titans did not have a wide receiver catch a ball. Not even one, against the Kansas City Chiefs. AJ Brown has been trolling them, saying how lousy they were after he left. Hopkins, threw his 2 cents in the mix, and they finally said, okay, we need him. We're bringing him in. He gets guaranteed $24 million, possibly about $30 million with incentives that seem to be easy to reach with his numbers. This was a no-brainer, in my opinion. Good move for the Titans, and I can't believe a lot of other teams didn't step up. This doesn't seem that steep for a guy that's probably top 2 or 3 wideouts in the NFL.
Yeah, I never understood why it took so long for teams to like look at Hopkins. Maybe because they were pressed, they didn't have the money or whatever. But a guy who does winning football. Yeah. He will win you games. He's still really good. Like he's still. As far as I'm concerned, he's done some of the most insane, incredible catches I've ever seen. And so he's just going to add to your team if you add him to your team. So I'm glad that Tennessee has decided to say, you know what? I think we need some wide receivers or just people that can catch the ball. So we'll go get him. We're going to go get him.
Yeah, you got one of the best running backs in the league. You got a great defense. This is the piece you needed, and they did it. The big loser in this scenario, though, is the New England Patriots. We heard they were circling around him. They brought him in for workouts. They talked to his agent quite extensively. It sounded like it was going to be the Patriots. Titans came out of nowhere, and I'm shocked that the Patriots with Mac Jones, Bill Belichick, trying to get this team back to being relevant. They didn't put in, enough of an offer to get him there. It's a huge loss.
And I guess the question there was what did the Patriots have enough money to pay him? And it doesn't sound like they did. It doesn't sound like they could have matched the Titans with what they were offering. Because if they could have, I think they would have.
No.
Because it felt like, I don't know this, but it felt like Hopkins was leaning towards going to the Patriots anyways. But since the Titans paid him more money, he was like, well, business is still business. I'm going to have to go here, right? So I'm curious, though, did he make the right choice?
Yeah.
I don't know who the better team is at this point in time. Like, I don't know who the better team is.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how he does and how he works with Ryan Tannehill as a receiver quarterback combo. Hopefully they get off to a good start, and then the Titans get off to a good start, because it would really suck for the organization if they do not.
Yeah. He's getting together with some of the coaches that he was with when he was in Houston. There was a few of the top guys there. His career season in Houston, their defensive coordinator still there. Vrabel was there. So, pieces back to his history. Do you remember why they said they got rid of him in Houston?
Oh, this had to do with that moron, the GM. What was his name again? Brian something?
Yeah. The name escapes me, but
it's fine. It's fine. We erased it from our minds because he was such a
thankfully.
Thankfully. Now I'm trying to remember what did it have something to do with his personal life?
Yes.
Yeah, and it was ridiculous because it was not even football related. I can't remember. I think it had something to do with children.
They said he had too many baby mamas coming around and bugging the team, bugging him, and they got sick of all the baby mamas disrupting him. So me and you just went, what the hell are you talking about? And Houston just went like right into the toilet after they made that move. It did not work out. Why are the Cardinals moving away from him? Is it money? Is that just really the case, or are these baby mamas really this disruptive that they're really interrupting such a promising career?
Well, let's be honest. He wouldn't be the only one with baby mamas, right? He's not the only player with that. So I can't see how disruptive that could be. More to the point, for the Arizona Cardinals, that might have more to do with the quarterback and Kyler Murray than anything else, because it seems that dude has been incredibly hard to work with. That's why, all the coaches are gone and all these people, there's so many moving parts. I want to say he would probably be the main focal point that I would be looking at on why some of these guys are not coming back, or they're just leaving, or whatever. I'd look at Kyler Murray more than anybody else. Yeah,
that's probably the case. That's weird, hey, but that might be the case, that they did not. That they couldn't get along, because two dynamic, incredible players offensively, and it's insane that they couldn't figure it out, because together they're much better than being apart.
Oh yeah, no, I would say so. So what happened there? Like, how did that relationship just go down the tube? And if I had to guess, I would say it would be more towards Kyler Murray's part than DeAndre Hopkins' part.
Yeah. Bill O'Brien is the guy's name.
Bill O'Brien, thank you.
And they traded him for David Johnson, and that was a horrific trade. Not good. And it worked out. Titans really messed up not keeping AJ Brown. Look at how much it worked out in Philly. Him and Jalen Hurts have been able to go to a Super Bowl and have just an absolutely dynamic tandem.
Exactly, right? Like, AJ Brown is just like, no, you guys did the right thing by not re-signing me or giving me extension or anything like that, because, well, clearly you're better off. You're a better team without me. So much better.
Yeah. He tweeted something to the effect of, after, I think it was after that Kansas City game where none of the wide receivers had any catches. I think he tweeted out, and yes, there was nobody open. And he was really like saying that these guys could not get open, not talented enough, did not know how to play like he did, and it was pretty hilarious. Tweeting about his former team. Probably one of the biggest athlete. Well, I would say arguably the biggest athlete on the planet was introduced over the weekend. He has to date signed the largest contract in sports history, $647 million. And he was introduced over the weekend in front of a crowd of about 20,000 fans. One of the world's best, still probably near his prime, was introduced. You know who I'm talking about, Jay?
No, I have no idea. None.
Lionel Messi was introduced by Inter Miami's MLS team. David Beckham was there for the splashy entrance. 20,000 fans braved really a downpour, crazy torrential downpour rain. He came out and was introduced to the crowd. He is the reigning MVP of the World Cup of Soccer, helping Argentina win the championship and scoring a hat trick in the final game. And he's coming over. I'd still say he's super relevant in the game. A lot of football players, soccer players have come over from major leagues across the pond and been at the tail end of their careers. Him, being that Golden Boot winner of this championship and, winning the title, World Cup, coming over, massive news. And a lot of people like yourself really just had it swept under the rug, didn't hear about it, didn't care.
Well, it's soccer, right? So anyways, it's great for MLS. Like it's great promotion and marketing for MLS. Like it's super smart to bring these guys over once they're at the tail end of their career so that they can promote their organization, right? And also too, it's smart for Lionel Messi because now he has a plethora of sponsorship and endorsements, like a world of them all open up now that he's now in Miami, in the US. And so man can make even more money than what he is, which is time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, $647 million contract signed before. He's got the most money of he's almost reaching God money.
Yeah.
One note in the world of racing, Molson Indy was held on the lakeshore, downtown Toronto. Fantastic race as always. Love going there. I've been to many of those races over the years and super fun. Christian Lundgaard was the winner. This was his first ever Indy win. He won it for the Ray Hall David Letterman team, and great to see that. Alex Palau, who's leading the championship in points, had a really bad qualifying on Saturday. There was downpour of rain and a lot of troubles qualifying. He ended up starting 15th and he finished second. And he did so with his front wing just barely hanging on for the last few laps. Somehow he was able to ride and end up finishing in second place, but super fun race, great time. Any Canadians that are listening, watching this, go down to the Indy. It is an amazing weekend event and really fun. And that is a very picturesque, beautiful spot in Toronto where they hold it. And that was fun race to watch.
Now is the track that they do in Toronto, is it like close to downtown or is it like outside? Kind of.
It's a little bit outside. It's on the Lakeshore Boulevard, kind of where the exhibition stadium is, and the where they have the Canadian National Exhibition, RP&E. They have a C&E, and they have that going on. They have a few other stadiums down there and stuff. So it's not right downtown, but it's just on the outskirts.
Okay. Either way, awesome event to go to, obviously.
Awesome.
Great for the economy of Toronto. And you know what? It's cool to see for the first time. If you've never gone to like an event like that, it's just cool to see where you're just like, because if you can imagine these guys going that fast in these hairpin corners, and you're just like, I have no idea how you have the motor skills to gauge that and not just crash.
Yeah,
all the time.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's super fun to watch live. Blows your mind that they can drive that quick without crashing every lap. So yeah, I recommend it to everybody, and we should, everyone should partake and take it in, even if you're not a racing fan. It's a fantastic weekend. Okay, before we get to the UFC, I just want to mention, right after we had our last podcast, there was a huge announcement. I was going to announce it on our last podcast when we ran out of time, but you texted me the details a little bit right when you heard about it. I knew it was happening last week. The announcement of Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury finally getting a date, a time, a place, and they are going to have a boxing match. It's kind of an exhibition match. I don't know if it's going to count on Tyson Fury's record. It's definitely not for his title, but it will take place October 28th in Saudi Arabia. This is more oil money, more Saudi Arabian money happening. These guys are both getting paid huge. It's great that Ngannou bet on himself, left the UFC with guaranteed money there, and signed with the PFL, and now he's got his boxing wish. He's going to make some massive money here. What did you think when you heard about the deal finally getting consummated?
Vindication.
Nice.
I think that's super amount of vindication for Francis. I think he actually also showed people that are in the UFC, it's like, well, if he doesn't give you what you want, then go get it. Don't depend on Dana to get what you think you deserve. Go get it yourself, right? Yep. And that's what he did. He went out and got it himself. And also too, he proved to Dana, it's like, well, I don't need you. I don't. No. I clearly don't. I needed you to build myself up to where I got to. Sure. And then once I got to that point, and then you just wanted me to take the money and shut up. Oh, that's cool. How about this? I won't take your money. I'll get money from somewhere else, and I'll talk as much as I freaking want. How about that? Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for him. I find it, because Dana White is Dana White. He's still always incredibly petty, always will be, because I believe he even tried to take this fight away from Francis by trying to. I don't know if you remember that, but he was trying to say maybe John Jones to try to fight Francis in the octagon, which was never going to happen. Sure. But apparently they even sent him paperwork for that fight to happen to try to take it away from Francis. But I love Tyson Fury. It's like, yeah, cool, garbage. Francis, you're in.
Yeah, nice. I love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's really good. It's nice to see the little guy win for once. And, it's hard to call a guy the, heavyweight champion of the world a little guy, but he's little compared to the big bad UFC. And, lots of guys have left the UFC and sort of went into obscurity, and we never really heard from them again. And it's nice that he was able to, put pen to paper, get a deal. He's going to get some tens of millions of dollars. And it makes me happy that, finally somebody that's, had a hard life, had to overcome so much to get where he ended up getting to. It's great that he had a platform with the UFC to elevate his status to the point where he was called one of the baddest men on the planet. But, with boxing the way it is, there's just so much more money in it compared to the UFC and a lot of mixed martial arts organizations like that. The pay-per-view buys, where do you think we fall in the pay-per-view buys in the top 10 of all time? I have the numbers right in front of me. I can list them off for you if you'd like. Do you see it being right up there, or is it because it's an exhibition kind of a match, it's not for a title. Do you think it's falling down the list a little bit?
Okay, I got a question for you. First question. In that top 10 that you have in front of you, are any of those pay-per-views related to Jake Paul or the Pauls?
I don't think so. No, none of them on this particular list. No.
Okay, all right. Because I see this at least being as popular as like one of those Pauls matches, but there's a little bit of a difference, which is it's Tyson Fury and it's Francis Ngannou. Yeah. So with that as was where I'm thinking where my head is going to. What's number 10 and 9 on your list?
Okay. Okay. I'll just tell you right off the start here. Floyd Mayweather has the first 4. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Floyd Mayweather has number 9 against Miguel Cotto, 2012. That was 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. And then Tyson Roy Jones Jr. From 2020 is in number 10 position. And that's about 1 and 1.5 as well. And then I'll tell you the top 3 or 4 here. Floyd against Manny is the most ever. 4.6 million pay-per-view buys. The revenue ended up being 410 million. And then Floyd against Connor's number 2, 4.3 with 396 million. Floyd against Canelo was 2.2, 150 million. And number 4 was Floyd against Oscar, 2.48 million, $136 million pay-per-view gate. Tyson Lewis, number 5, Gervonta Davis Garcia, number 6, Tyson Holyfield, number 7. That's just under 2 million, number 7. And number 8, Tyson McNeely, way back 1995, 1.5 million, $96 million pay-per-view gate.
I think they get over 1 million.
Okay.
That's what I think. I think they definitely get over 1 million. I think it garners interest. I think it's number 1, Tyson Fury's in the fight. All right. That's the most important thing. People will watch because he's in it. And for those that don't know Francis Ngannou, they'll probably just watch it just because it's like, oh, I heard that he was the baddest man until he had some sort of problems with the UFC. Because end of the day, the man never did lose his belt. He didn't lose his belt to anybody. Sure. Right. So I think definitely they think they get over 1 million. At least over 1 million. I think it's over 1 million pay-per-views.
Okay. Well, cool. I can't wait for it. I'm glad they finally put it together, and it's gonna be fun to watch. Saudi Arabia money get spent, as well as let's hope the pay-per-view buys go into the top 10 and maybe even into the. It would be amazing if they could make it into the top 2, 3, 4. It's amazing that the number 1 and number 2 are 4.6 million, 4.3 million. Number 3 is all the way down to 2.2 million. So there is quite the gap between 2 and 3. So that's it's going to be interesting. I would love to have that promotion job. I would promote the living heck out of it and make it the biggest fight of all time. It could be. It could be.
Could be.
It could be. If you promote it properly. This is a battle for the baddest man on the planet. Unfortunately, the only thing that I think is a bit of a drawback is that it's the very first boxing match ever for Ngannou, and you have to favor Tyson Fury in a wide margin. If it was reversed and it was mixed martial arts, you'd favor Ngannou in a wide margin, obviously. So being the two different sports like this, and one guy coming in with zero experience at that, it's tough. But that was the same case, I guess, with Floyd and Connor. So we'll see.
I think maybe Tyson, he plays it the same way as Floyd did, where it's just like, well, I'm just gonna make it, look competitive.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that to the day I die. That was all Floyd. He made it look great.
Yeah.
For us. Because if you're trying to tell me that he could have just blown Connor out in the first 4 rounds, Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was very much capable of doing that.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Good call. You're probably right. Yeah. Made it look a lot better than it probably could have been. So anyway, okay. We had a UFC card in Vegas. It was UFC Vegas 77. One of the worst cards I've ever seen on paper. It almost made me puke in my mouth. And I was like, what are they trying to do to us here? This is horrible. There was a main event that got pulled off this card. And so we had a 41-year-old Holly Holm against Mira Buenasilva. The thing about Holm is, to me, she could probably be considered the greatest female combat athlete of all time because
of her boxing.
Yeah, because of her boxing. She's a Hall of Fame boxer, and she's probably going to be a Hall of Fame mixed martial artist. She was a champion in the UFC, knocked off one of the greatest of all time in Ronda Rousey, and was pretty good, had a pretty good run at the top there. Was one of the best decorated boxers to ever live. So great. But she's not a main event draw in a lot of senses because she doesn't fight excitingly. She doesn't put on exciting fights where you're like, oh, she's going to KO her opponent for sure. A lot of decision wins, a lot of safe fights. And so, this didn't move my needle. It didn't excite me. So, going in, I thought she had the advantage over Silva, but Silva proved that, she's moved her level to a higher level than we ever saw, and pulled off a really amazing front ninja choke that Holly couldn't get out of and had to tap to and got the win. And number 10 beating number 3 is pretty historic. It was the main event. It was okay. What do you think?
I actually thought I'm not gonna like watching this fight because I thought it was gonna be one of the classic Holly Holm grinded out. I'm gonna have to watch the full 25 minutes. Yeah. Great. I'm super excited. I really want to do this. So that's what I was looking. That's what I thought I was looking forward to. But then, lo and behold, I was somewhat surprised because Holly Holm got sloppy on that shot when she got in on her up against the cage, and she left her neck out there. She knows better. She got sloppy. And then with the quickness that I'll give Buenasilva a lot of credit because that was pretty quick, how she locked up that ninja choke. Yeah. But once she locked that thing in with her one arm, Holm was not getting out of that. No. Even I was just like, oh man, that's in. It's just a matter of time. All she has to do is hold it, keep squeezing, she's going to tap. That's exactly what happened. Yeah. I thought within the exchanges that they had, that Buenasilva was actually the stronger striker anyways. I thought she had the more impact when she was hitting Holly Holm. Because Holly Holm, to me, she's more of a points fighter. Yeah. Right? Like, she doesn't have the power to really...
Counter fighter and points fighter, yeah. Save that distance, use her kicks, use her punches, yeah. And that's where she had that advantage if she could stay at a range. But when she got hit pretty hard.
Exactly. And she needed to do that for the entirety of the whole fight. Yeah. But when she did that one shot, she got, like I said, she got sloppy and then she got caught. She left her neck out there for way too long. And that was it. That was all she wrote. Now, my next question about Holly Holm is, all right, man, so when are you going to hang it up? Yeah. Like you're in your 40s now. Like, you can't tell me that you're still looking at, I probably still have another good 3 years, maybe another year. Yeah. Now that's what I'm thinking. Maybe just another year, and that's it.
Well, the thing that blew my mind was before this fight, she signed a 5-fight contract. That really shocked me. So, she's got 4 more left on a contract. Mind blowing. She came in looking pretty good. She had won 3 of her last 4, and had obviously been the former champ. Hasn't been fighting too much very much recently. So I don't know where she goes from here. She was a number 3 ranked fighter, losing to number 10. She's probably maybe loses that position right away. I don't know how much she falls down the rankings. I don't think she's automatically 10, but maybe she's going to be, 4 or 5 or something. Yeah, where does she go from here? That's a very, very, very good question. I'm not sure, but Silva has now put herself in the mix. Lots of times when I've seen a high ranked fighter, beat or a higher ranked fighter lose to a lower ranked fighter, that lower ranked fighter automatically takes over that position. So maybe she's in number 3 position. I don't think the UFC is going to immediately give her a title shot. The funny thing about this division right now is that they don't have a champion after Amanda Nunes retired and walked away here in Vancouver. But they have 2 girls that I think they're going to match up. They haven't matched them up yet, but Juliana Pena is number 1 ranked, and Raquel Pennington is number 2 ranked. Makes tons of sense that the UFC puts these 2 together for the vacant title, and then Silva has a chance at the winner of those 2.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me. I guess, the exciting thing for this division now that Nunes has left, the monster, that everybody's got a chance now. I don't see any woman right now in this division that will be a dominant champion like Amanda Nunes.
No.
So, I actually see that the belts might be changing hands quite a bit during these next couple of years.
Yeah, I agree. Pena's number 1 ranked, as I mentioned. She's been, she was former champ and has had a pretty good run lately. Raquel Pennington has won 5 in a row. She's had a little bit of a distraction though. Her wife, Tisha Torres, has just had a baby, and they said that they've had no sleep, a lot of time trying to raise a brand new baby. They brought it to the last fight last week, and man, it's tiny little baby. It's just been born. They were at the induction ceremonies for the Hall of Fame as well and stuff. And so she has a distraction there, but as I said, they haven't booked the fight, so we're talking at least a couple months away from that. So we'll see, how things shake out. Holly Holm has a lot of people in this division that she could face against. I don't think this was enough to make her consider retirement. Probably not. It was a mistake she made, and she got caught. It happens. Number 4 ranked right now is Caitlin Vieira. Irina Aldana, the Mexican, is 5th rank. Pane Kanzad, the Swedish fighter, is number 6. Yanni Santos, 7. Carol Rosa, 8. And Macy Chasson is 9. They probably all dropped down 1 position in these rankings that I have in front of me. So yeah, we'll see how Holly fares out. But do I have an argument on her probably being the best combat athlete of all time, female wise?
Yeah. No, you definitely do. You definitely have an argument, because I don't know how many divisional championships she won in boxing. I think it was more than a couple. And I think she was a unanimous champion in one of those divisions at least. And she's already a Hall of Famer in boxing. She's already there. So yeah, man. I can definitely see that. I can definitely, since she made the transition too, and she did MMA, she was wildly successful, was a champion. Good argument.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy when you think about it that there's the best. I just wish she was a more exciting fighter, and I would have been a little more hyped for it. But the co-main event ended up being the fight of the night. Both guys got $50K for their battle. It was actually a really good fight. I was pretty impressed with both guys. They're both super tough. The Iron Turtle used that slow, steady style and was able to get a really good submission victory over a tough guy in Albert Duriev. Tell me your thoughts about it.
Oh, we're gonna do that one. Okay, so Park versus Duriev. You know what? The Iron Turtle just looked good. He looked really, really good. I like the fact that he had consistent, efficient pressure, like where he was just walking forward at all times.
Yeah.
And he made Duraev very uncomfortable. The fact that he was constantly putting pressure on him, putting pressure. Almost actually had Duraev out of there in the first round where he jumped into the arm-in guillotine. I thought Duraev got lucky getting out of that. But yeah, like I just thought that his pressure was good. And then eventually in that second round where he was breaking him down with combos up against the fence, got him to the mat, and then was able to slowly but surely sink in that rear naked choke for the sub. It was a good win. Great win by Park. And I think that was him winning 7 of his last 8 fights. So yeah, good on him.
Incredible that he's on that much of a streak, and impressive. Yeah, he's been able to really put it together. He's got 4 straight finishes, and that's the second most in the division. Dricus du Plessis has 6. He's tied with a few fighters, 4 other fighters that have 4 straight finishes. But yeah, I'm sorry that I jumped all the way to that fight. It's something on my screen that's messed up here. It's weird. It's showing home, and then it's showing that fight, and then it's showing Harris Parisian, and then it's down to Dumont Chandler. That's the list it's showing me. So I apologize. I don't know why it's not jumping to the co-main event, which was Jack Della Maddalena against Basil Hafez, which was the fight of the night. Sorry about that. I don't know. It's very weird, but that's what it's showing here. That's the list. But, now that I can see my list, it's going to the proper fight. So, okay, so we can talk about the Jack Della Maddalena fight against a brand new UFC debut of Basil Hafez. Maddalena was a massive favorite in this one coming in. Hafez came in on 5 days' notice and was supposed to get beat handily. And Jack Della Maddalena made a couple of very huge mistakes and sort of kept this fight going by trying for this guillotine choke over and over, going to the ground and giving this guy this opportunity to go all the way. And he did. And, it was great to see this guy have this performance that nobody expected, but really weird on Maddalena for making the mistakes he made to keep this fight from ended up getting a finish.
Yeah, and it was funny because in the third round, the coaches basically said, "No more guillotine chokes. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Don't do it. No more guillotine chokes." It was funny because
just begging him, like, forget it. What are you doing here?
Yeah, because every time Hafez would use that to his advantage, jump off to the side, and then all of a sudden, now they're down in the grappling position and they're in his world.
Yeah.
And that's why he won the first round, because it was grappling heavy. I'm going to say this. I think JDM, I like to call him JDM because Jack Della Maddalena. I think JDM was lucky that this dude only had 5 days notice, because if that guy had a full fight camp, he probably wins this fight.
Yeah.
Because his gas tank wouldn't have just ran on empty, because he was on empty in the third round.
Yeah.
Empty.
Yeah. He was gassed, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. But
he was clearly gassed. I think he would have been much better with a full camp for sure. But to be like he's fought so smartly though. When he realized he was gassed and he was getting beat up, he would go for the takedown, go for the clinches. He's a smart fighter, and a lot of his training partners were tweeting and saying, "Hey, this guy's no joke." And I'm glad that he was able to show his stuff, even though he came in on late notice like that.
Oh yeah, man. And then the other thing that I thought was very telling throughout the course of the fight was whenever they had those phone booth encounters, those exchanges, JDM was supposed to get the majority and win those.
Yeah.
He only started winning those encounters nearing the end of the second round.
Late,
right at the end of the second round, and definitely was taking over in the third round, right? And like I think that's part of the reason split decision. Hafez really showed his worth. Obviously, belongs on the big stage, but I think that was more the reason why JDM won this fight, was because those encounters he was beginning to win more and more of, and especially in the third round, when he was really beginning to put it on him, and you could see that Hafez was beginning to fade. But again, incredibly smart fighter. Whenever it felt like he was getting on the edge of like being taken out, he'd shoot.
Yeah.
He'd shoot for a wrestling grapple. So
smart fighter. Yeah, I think it boils down to him, jumping for these guillotine chokes and going to the ground and he shouldn't have. The other thing, I'm going to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt as well, as he had to cut weight twice. He was supposed to fight on last week's card, and two fighters pulled out. He was originally supposed to fight Sean Brady. That fight got canceled. Then he was transitioned to Josiah Harrell. That fight got canceled because Harrell, they found something in his brain that needs some surgery during the physical heading into the fight, and so he had to cut that weight, put it back on, stayed in Vegas instead of going back to Perth, Australia. He stayed in Vegas hoping that he could catch a fight. He did, and might have affected his performance.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, because cutting weight like that's not fun. No, that is definitely not fun. But at least it paid off for him, because him staying, he was able to get the fight. I'm pretty sure he thought it was going to be a little bit easier than what it was. But again, fighters like him that are climbing the ranks, they need fights like this. They need fights like this to to sharpen their skills and to know that this could happen at any point in time, where all of a sudden it's like, oh, this guy's really giving it to me. I need to step my game up completely if I want to win.
Yeah. Well, he's won 15 in a row now. I think his stock drops a little bit here because it wasn't the dominant performance that most people expected. They thought this is a UFC debut of a guy that's definitely not on the same level skill-wise, hasn't had the same type of competition as him. So I definitely don't think his stock rose here. But, with 15 wins in a row, he's still going to be able to, be high up on a card next time and be somebody that, gets a tough opponent. So we'll see. This lightweight battle between Ottoman Azatar and Francisco Prado, this was a pick'em going in. Nobody was really favorite. There was a 12-year age difference. And when they've had fights over the history of the UFC, a guy that's 12 years younger, they've won about 70% of the time. And this ended up being the case in this one. Two guys super tough. Prado ends up landing the spinning elbow just as Azatar was trying to grab onto him, fell back down. Unfortunately, quite the cut from the elbow on the side of his head. He took a few shots and was looked in trouble. Immediately, Chris Tognoni was jumping in to, maybe stop it. Then he gave him a little bit, and then he stopped it at a really weird time, right when he had pushed him off and was ready to get standing up. He stopped it. I thought it was a bit of an early stoppage, but unfortunately, I think the blood and a couple of the shots that landed while he was on the ground really led Tognoni to decide, okay, this is over. I wish it would have went on. I think this would have been a hell of a battle, but that spinning elbow was the beginning of the end. Prado got in there and started throwing as much as he could and got the finish.
Yeah. Yes, you could definitely argue that it was a quick stoppage, because you could see indecision in his movements, entire movements when he was moving in. Like, he was like, do I do it? Do I do it? And then once he finally committed to stopping it, it was at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Because he had just created separation. Now, if he just waited a little bit longer to see if that guy could get up, but if he can't get up and he gets smashed a couple more times, then that's a great stop.
Yeah.
Right? So, refs' job's incredibly hard. And I get it, because you're trying to give the fighter the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, you do still need to protect him, right? So it's a tough one. I was kind of curious because I never did see it clearly, how bad that damn cut was. You see how much blood came out of his head?
So much blood. Yeah.
That right there. The fight might have been like called right there because of the sheer amount of blood that was coming out of that man's head. So
yeah, you're right. We didn't really ever get a clear shot of the cut, but it was just spewing out blood, and I think it influenced Tognoni's decision because he probably couldn't see the cut as well, didn't know where the blood was coming from, but it was really just pouring out, and that probably didn't help Ottoman's case there for continuing it. Okay, let's quickly talk about the Norma DuPont Chelsea Chandler fight. Really a lot of bad blood going into this fight, but I thought Norma was the better fighter and definitely was. Chandler shouldn't use her face as a guard, as a block. She just stormed in face first, hands down, took some serious shots, tried to land the bombs of her own. Dumont is a better fighter and deserved this decision victory. Chandler's got to learn defense and not use her face as a way of blocking punches. And she doesn't move her head very well either. So this was pretty easy for Dumont to take this victory, I thought.
Yeah, because Chandler doesn't move her head off the center line. There was no head movement whatsoever. She did the one thing that even I had to agree with DC during the broadcast. So I've never seen anybody just turn and run away.
Yeah, that run was hilarious. Holy cow!
She turned and sprinted, and I'm like, because it was funny because DC said if the door was open, she was out of there.
Just kept on running.
I found it hilarious because I'm like, what if she just turned it and just started running like she's running track? That was awesome. But like Dominic said, you do what you got to do to survive in there. And then she did come back, but this was Dumont's fight for sure. She dominated in the grappling exchanges. A dominant victory by Dumont. Dominant victory. Yeah. Quick question. Do you want to talk about that Dudakova versus Nunes fight?
I do. Yes, I do. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but that was one of the grossest injuries I think I've ever seen. It was freaky weird because of just how it even happened.
Yeah.
Because usually that never happens. We've seen plenty of fighters post up on their off arm to try to break their fall or whatever. But just because of the positioning of the other fighter and with the momentum going, it was just popping, freaking out, and actually hyperextended and then popped out the elbow.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was even broken though too, because it
been broken too.
Yeah, I think it might have been broken too, because it was pointing in a wrong direction. That even I've had my elbow dislocated, both of them actually, and I don't think it actually popped out that bad. It came out and I had to pop it back in, but it was going sideways. You know, it to me, I think got broken as well.
It was okay, so I believe that fight had just literally started. And so I'm watching the fight and I go, wait, what happened? It was shocking because of the fact that nothing really happened.
Yeah.
Right? That's why it was shocking. It was shocking because nothing really happened. And then she screams like a bat, she's just like, well, I would do the same thing, by the way.
She was in a lot of freaking pain.
Yeah, so then I'm looking at the fighter above her. I'm like, man, I hope she doesn't start trying to hammer her to death, because it's that's when you're just like, oh no, you don't usually scream like that for nothing. The fight's over.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was gonna say, hey, we're about to talk about the Amanda Nunes. No, I mean Estela Nunes fight. But there's not a lot to say because it was 34 seconds long and it was one of the most horrific arm breaks I've ever seen. And I was looking forward to the Dudarova fight because I really liked her on the Contender Series. I saw some of her earlier fights, and I thought, okay, even though I hate Russians and they're cheating all the time, I was like, okay, I'm a little bit behind watching this girl fight. Nunes came in losing 3 in a row, and I thought, maybe just a sacrificial lamb thrown to her. This is, it might not last very long, but I didn't expect it to be almost nothing except a toss down, sort of a spinning toss down, and then, as you said, she posted up, bam, holy cow. Yeah, that was one of the most horrific injuries. I think some of the guys on the broadcast were like, I'm not even going to watch it. You watch it. I'm not even watching it. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people were turning away because it was brutal to see an arm go like that, and having her screaming in pain. She was in a shitload of pain.
Yeah, no, like it's just, I know that they're gonna have to do the replay, but at times you're just like, you know what? I think I don't need to see that again.
No,
like I agree with the broadcast guys. Like sometimes it's like, I don't need to see that. We're good.
That was the only finish on the prelims, so let's just skip the prelims. We don't even have to bother talking about them. That was all the rest were decisions, and I wasn't even really excited about many of them. So let's just talk about next week's card. I'm looking forward to getting up early again. I was up early this Sunday. Now I'm getting up very early again because it's in the O2 Arena in London. This is a very UK-oriented fight card, as always. Tom Aspinall, one of the best heavyweights in the world. He's ranked number 5 right now, takes on number 10 ranked Marcin Tybura. Aspinall is probably considered the best fighter out of the UK right now, currently, and really on a meteoric rise. Coming off a bad injury, but I'm looking forward to a heavyweight battle and seeing the crowd get behind Aspinall as they did last time he was there.
Okay, so was it about this time last year when he got injured?
Yeah.
And it was a knee injury, right? Or something like that? Or was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I blew
it. Was the,
yeah.
Okay, so at least he's so the one thing I'll say right away is at least he's given himself more than enough time to be properly rehabbed from that injury because it's been a year. So good for him. Good for him for not trying to rush back. I've never understood it when fighters, especially if you're in this sport, you never rush back from an injury.
No.
Because your injuries are really bad. And then when you get there and the guy goes, we're just going to test to see if that injury is still pretty bad. Because they're going to do that to you, right?
Sure. Yeah.
They're going to hurt you. So I'm looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. Question for you, though. Do you like the co-main event?
I really love how much the UK crowd gets behind Meatball, and I think she's in trouble with Stoliarenko, but she's put on some spectacular performances there. That spinning elbow victory that she had in the UK was one of the coolest moments, seeing it and seeing how the crowd reacted. So she has a puncher's chance, and this could be it could go down as an okay fight, but I was surprised that it's a co-main event, but she is super popular there.
Yeah, I was surprised too, but I was surprised and then I wasn't surprised because I'm like, this is her backyard, and she is Molly McCann, she's Meatball, and she's kind of like side by side with Patty Pimblett. Those two are almost like a package deal. I'm surprised Patty's actually not on this card, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I'm super surprised. I guess he's going through his fat stage, so he can't do it right now. So I get it. But so I just hope for Molly's sake that she puts on a great performance, because it's a co-main event, right? And I don't believe she's ever been in this spot before. So I'd like to see Molly get it again. But for her to get it again, she has to put on a good performance. So I hope she has a good performance.
Yeah, when they were in the UK and Pimblett and Aspinall and McCann were on that card, it was one of the best cards ever, and especially the crowd reaction. It was just phenomenal. Kind of like Vancouver was, in my opinion. Just the getting behind the UK fighters and stuff. That Blades fight that Aspinall had where he hurt his knee and was out, that was it was a year ago, minus 1 day. So it was the 23rd of July. This takes place on the 22nd of July. So I guess it's a year because it's the Saturday. So it's exactly a year. He only lasted 15 seconds in that fight. Twisted his knee really bad, and boom, he was out of it. That was really a lousy way for that main event to finish. But hopefully he's fully recovered. A year is pretty good for an injury, no matter what it is. So hopefully, he's fully recovered. I think he has a big advantage over Tabora, and I think this will excite the UK crowd if he's able to get the victory, as well as as the build up, a lot of the UK fighters are winning. I always like Nathaniel Wood, great fighter, fighting Andre Touchy-Feely. It'll be good. Our Canadian guy is in the corner of Feely there, so that'll be fun. Paul Craig, love seeing Paul Craig. Look out, keep your arms in tight. Don't let him get a hold of any of your limbs, or they're gonna be broken, just like Estela Nunez. And that'll be interesting. Jai Herbert, the Black Country Banger on it. Lerone Murphy against Kulabal will be fun. What do you think's gonna be the fight of the night?
If I had to pick the fight of the night, I think it'd be Nathaniel Wood, Andre Touchy-Feely. That's what I would go with. I think both those guys are super dynamic. They can fight on all levels. I think it's going to be more of a stand-up war between those two, because I think there would be a lot of ego saying, you know what, I think my stand-up's better than yours. And then I think Nathaniel Wood is like, no, I'm pretty sure my stand-up's better than yours. You know what? We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. Davey Grant's on the card, Danny Roberts, Mark DeCasey. We've got Brian Barberina. A lot of great fights, a lot of great fighters. I'm pretty pumped, and I think it's going to be a fun card. 9 a.m. here locally on the Pacific time, when the prelims start, noon for the main card. Anybody in the East, noon for the prelims, 3 o'clock for the pay-per-view. So that'll be fun. And we're only a little more than a week away from UFC 291. Big announcement happened. The co-main event was going to be for who gets to battle Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill has unfortunately blown out his Achilles tendon and will not be fighting for a long time. Jason Cameron has blown out his Achilles tendon before, and it is a horrific injury. He has vacated the light heavyweight belt, and so it was assumed that the UFC would step this up and make this fight for the vacant title. They have said no, it will remain a 3-round battle, and then we'll figure out the title fight after this one. So Jan Blachowicz, Alex Pereira would be just fighting for top contender status in the co-main event of UFC 291 next week from Salt Lake. Unfortunately, I thought it was going to change and I would have better news. Yuri Prochazka did vacate his title with a bad shoulder injury. Jamal Hill was able to get that belt. I thought the similar thing was going to happen to these guys, but no such luck. Only one title fight. Well, one belt on the line. The BMF belt with Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje for next week's card.
Well, the BMF belt is awesome. So first and foremost, and if you're gonna have two guys fight for that belt, you couldn't have a better fight than these two.
Yeah.
Right. You just can't have a better fight than those two, man. True. Because they're going to literally beat each other up until somebody can't stand anymore. So that's awesome. That's a great thing. Sucks about Jamal Hill. I did not know about that Achilles. I've suffered that. I know how devastating that is. I don't know if the UFC actually had the conversation saying, well, you know how long these injuries last. He's literally going to be out a year.
Yeah.
Bar none, as far as I'm concerned. He's literally going to be out a year. So I guess it's the right thing for him to give up the belt. But now, since he's going to be out a year, right?
Yeah.
And Yuri Prochazka is still doing his rehab on his horrific shoulder injury, which you could say maybe still a year away. So when Jamal Hill is good enough, maybe Yuri Prochazka will be actually healthy enough.
Right.
And then we'll have all these fighters saying, all right, well, everybody's in the mix right now. We got like 4 or 5 fighters that are in the mix for the belt. That could be
I never thought about that. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about Prochazka being back, because that shoulder injury was something like maybe career threatening, and you know, maybe not being able to ever come back. So yeah, that's that's a very good point that you make there. There's suddenly going to be, you know, 4 to half a dozen fighters in the mix at the top of the division, and quite the toss-up.
Yeah, it's good. It just makes it more exciting for the light heavyweight division, because now you have all these guys kind of competing, and then a couple of guys are on the shelf because of injuries. But once they come back, that's going to be quite the interesting division.
Yeah, I'm pumped for it. Exactly, for sure. I do want to mention that the main event, Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier fought April 14th, 2018. Poirier was able to get the victory in the early in the 4th round. Was the fight of the night. Gaethje was deducted a point in that one for repeated eye pokes, and Poirier was reduced in his vision, but he still kept coming. Was able to get the knockout in that early in that 4th round, and that was a hell of a fight. 5 years later, it's pretty cool that they're fighting again, and yeah, the BMF belt I wasn't sure about, but you know, if they're able to put together, you know, battles like this for guys that are willing to, you know, put it all on the line, I guess you know, I'm on board with it.
No, I'm definitely on board with it. Like I love the idea when it came up. I like the fact that they just don't offer that belt to just anybody. Like you gotta earn it through your body of work and the wars that you've been in, and so that people know it's like, if that belt's up, that means that's going to be a great fight. Period. Like, it's not going to be a snoozer. It's just going to be an all-out battle, great fight, all on the line. So I love that. And then my next favorite fight on this UFC 291 would probably be Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, like, either one of those guys could step up in place of the other one. If one of the guys in the main event get hurt, I would be very fine with seeing either one of them stepping up into that spot for the BMF belt, because they're bad mothers too, right? And that's going to be so fun. I'm looking forward to that fight like you can't even believe. That's going to be an amazing battle.
I think it's going to be an amazing battle. Now, here's another question, though, because I know Ferguson has been on the wrong end of things for a lot of his recent fights. If he loses this fight to Green, do you think he's like maybe one more fight and he's out?
Yeah, he might be, man. He might be. Yeah.
Because he's on. You could say
he's been through just too many wars. I think it's taken a toll on him.
Oh yeah, I think so too. Like I don't think you can just do war after war after war after war and just your body's just always just gonna bounce back and be good. Like, I think eventually your body just goes, yeah. So when are we thinking about retiring? I know I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. And so I kind of hope he wins, because you know, I love seeing him fight, and I want him to fight for a few more times. And you know, I would hate to see him get knocked out badly here, and that would be the last of we've seen of him.
Yeah, no, that would suck. That would suck. I don't want to see that. What I do want to see is just one heck of a fight.
Yeah.
Like where they lay it all on the line, and everybody's just like, oh my God, did you see that fight? Did you see it? My goodness. Like, that's what I want to see. That's what I expect to see. That's what I want to see. And that's what I'm hoping that those guys are going to deliver for us.
Kevin Holland fighting on this one. Like, 291, why is Salt Lake City getting such an amazing card? Like, why? Why Salt Lake City? What have they done to deserve this?
One word. Mormons. Mormons. That's why. That's why they get such an amazing card. I wish we had more in Vancouver. If we did, we might have got this card, but we don't. So we get it.
Oh, great. You're going to try to get people to recruit Mormons here to get better fight cards? Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's how it goes now. That's what it is.
Damn it. Damn it. Yeah, they can have the Mormons. They can have the good cards. We'll keep our Canadian good, fight nights, and they can have the Mormons. I'm not going to recruit them up here.
Okay, you know what? Fine. I'll go down to Utah though, and I'll know that by railing, at least it's going to hold up if I'm leaning over to say, "Hey, what's up?" to my fellow. At least I know that.
Good point.
Railing's good here in Utah.
Nice. Two problems with Vancouver: no Mormons and bad railings. Oh man, I never knew we were going to have to ever say that in our podcast.
I did. I saw it.
Nostradamus predicting bad railings, no Mormons. This is a crappy city.
Yeah, no, we're not going to get a good card coming here, boys. Sorry. We don't have what it takes. We don't have it.
No. Well, man, awesome podcast as always. Yeah, in a way, it was kind of good. We had such a lousy UFC card this weekend. We're able to get out and about, do a lot of fun things, and then really start our podcast off talking about a lot of interesting news and notes from the world of sports.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was good. In these dog days of summer, sometimes you gotta really search for some sports news and stories, but we're able to do that. We're able to do that for our listeners because that's what we do.
Yeah,
that's what
we sure do. Yeah, we're sure getting a lot of traction, getting a lot of great subscribers, getting lots of good comments, love and likes, and it's growing fast. And like I said off the top, we are growing so much that we're going to be able to help a lot of people that are affected with this actors and writers strike. A lot of our brethren in the unions and in the industry can join on to this network and help yourself out, making some extra money. That's going to be necessary for, like we said, a lot of our people.
Yeah, it is. It is like I think for everybody involved, since you don't know how long this is going to last, because it's been the writer strike at least started in April, right? So that's May, June, July. Okay, so that's like 3 months. Let's say that 3-4 months, and so we're still probably looking at yet another 3 to 4 months. That is more than likely to happen now. Yeah. Now that the actors have said, we don't like what you guys have to say, so we're out. So that's our reality, and a lot of other people are going to be like, well, I'm just going to have to do something else to make ends meet until things go back to normal. And a lot of us are going to be in those positions. That's okay, because at least there's one good thing that we all know: it will come back.
Yeah,
we don't know when, but it will come back.
Yeah,
we'll get our jobs back, but I would say this: we're going to get them back on our terms, not on theirs, because there's just too much to lose at this point in time.
How dusty is your resume?
Super dusty. I think the last thing in there might be 99. Anyway, it's dusty. It's dusty, man. It's dusty.
Yeah, I know. Somebody asked me about my resume recently, and I'm like, resume? What is that again? I don't remember having one. I can't even think about how long it's been. It's been so long.
Well, you know what? At least maybe it's not going to be that bad now, since now we have our AI friends who say, I'm going to need you to whip me up a resume here. You know what? You just make it up. Make it look good.
Using the tool for good instead of evil.
Yes, exactly. It's like, it's like, all right, because of you, I'm now dealing with a work stoppage. But also because of you, you might get me another job real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's funny. I guess I'm going to see Mission Impossible this week now after your recommendation. I will be checking it out. And I hope you have a great week ahead. Let's do lunch sometime later on in the week.
All right. Sounds good. We'll make a plan. We'll go for lunch somewhere. And I'm looking forward to it, because I'm going to be hungry. I know that for a fact.
Me too. Okay, buddy. Cheers. All the best. Thanks a lot.
All
We'll
right.
talk.
Thanks, man.
Okay, man. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't have a timer on this, but that was a long podcast. But hope you enjoyed as much as we did doing it. Always great to have Jason on doing a weekend wrap up of sports. I didn't think it was going to go this long because we had such a lousy UFC card that didn't deserve a ton of attention and a lot of words. But yeah, we had a lot of interesting other sports to chat about and and enjoy. Blue Jays are playing great. Great to see them sweep the Diamondbacks coming out of the All-Star break. Vladdy being able to join his dad as a home run champion. The only player in history to win the home run derby and then get a home run in his first at bat coming out of the All-Star break. That was cool. Jays are looking pretty decent. Tampa's on a bad losing streak. Baltimore's ready to catch them, looking like at the top of the East. And Jays are firmly in a wild card position now, so it's going to be fun to watch them down the stretch. And as the summer wears on, I'm planning on heading another Vancouver Canadians game soon, which will be fun. I'll make some posts on that. Yeah, as I said, tons of launches and lots of things coming on the Complete Media Network. If you are in the film industry and you're looking for some extra money, there's money to be had here through the Complete Media Network. So give us a call, send us an email, whatever you like. And yeah, take care of yourself. Thanks for all our partners and sponsors. As always, really appreciate your support. I want to thank Anchor.fm, easiest place to make a podcast. Go on there. Fantastic at posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, and the V350 stick is a must-have if you're a hockey player. I want to talk about Pampas and Possibilities. Really amazing at designing pretty things around your home with the West Coast vibes. So you can find information on our website about them, as well as information on our website about Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. Fantastic products that we utilize on a daily basis. So discounts if you want to purchase products on our website, CompleteSportsMedia.com, CompleteMediaNetwork.com. Go on there. Yeah, look at all the great things. Go on to Instagram. That's blowing up lately as well. So love you guys lots. Have a great week ahead. Happy summer and enjoy your week. We will talk soon. Take care of yourself and bye for now.